Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, guys, based on the time zones you all are coming from. So, guys, before we start with this session, can you all please give me a quick confirmation if you all can see my screen and hear me loud and clear as well? So, before we get started, let me quickly introduce myself to you all first. So, my name is Neeraj Kedia, and I've been working in this IT industry for more than 13 years now. So, our main agenda for today's session, we are going to discuss on the concepts of decision making using Power BI. So we are going to start our discussion on why exactly we need to visualize data. What is data visualization? Why do we require business intelligence? Why we have to use Power BI? What exactly it is and how it is structured? What are the key benefits of Power BI? The processes involved in Power BI, building blocks of Power BI charts, and then the hands-on available. So this is the agenda that we are going to follow for our session today. So let's get started. So if we talk about why exactly we need to visualize data, then data is in different formats. So basically, it's one of the main BI tools available. Now, for example, let's say if you want to understand the importance of visualization, then data is scattered in different formats. It is mostly scattered in multiple unstructured data set or even in structured. It may be available in a given table format where we may not even can derive we can say the correct meaning of the data. We may see the data as simply a set of rows and columns, and what exactly that data means, that will not be truly visible. And that's why we have to make sure that we are able to visualize the data in the correct format so that we can derive meaningful insight from that particular data as quickly as possible. And that exactly is offered by using these kind of visualization tools. So data visualization allows us to have a quick interpretation on the given data set so that we can adjust different variables to see the entire effect, how exactly data is related to each other. So data visualization is what? Data visualization is simply converting any data. For example, we have a tabular format. For example, we have the sales data for last 6 months. So now if we have that data available in the tabular format, so we can convert that into multiple charts, graphs, and we can say we can give that data a visual, we can visualize the data by using multiple of these visualization techniques, and then it becomes easier to know what exactly has been the trend. For example, we want to see, okay, whether we have been in the increasing trend, our profits have been increasing, or they have been static, or they have been declining. So just by looking at the line graph from the given data set, we can infer this information, whether our profits are increasing, or they are static, or they are declining, without looking further, without digging deeper into the tabular format, so that it becomes easier for us to analyze, and then we can get some good insight on what should be our next steps, and then we would be able to come to transform. First of all, we have to transform the data, then only we can visualize it, and then we can infer some meaningful insight from that particular data. And that exactly is what data visualization is all about. It's a presentation of data in the pictorial, or we can say graphical format. So now if we discuss about why exactly we do need business intelligence. So business intelligence has become a bigger domain than most trending technologies. And if we ask 20 people what the term business intelligence means, then we are likely to get 10 different answers, right? And we know, first of all, before we discuss on business intelligence, now in a nutshell, we had discussed that data visualization is nothing but the representation, correct? And it helps in providing the insights into complex data sets by communicating the key aspects in more intuitive and meaningful ways. And data visualization lies at the intersection of design, communication, and information science. So basically, why exactly we need it? So first of all, it helps us in boosting the productivity. That means we can pull data and create reports at the click of a button. We don't have to spend hours and hours of analysis or creating a complete visualized report from scratch. We can use the entire intuitive platform for helping us in creating the right type of visualization. It helps us in gaining sales and market intelligence. So it helps in winning new customers into servicing and tracking the existing customers as well. So basically here with Power BI, we can auto search data sets for hidden insights in seconds with quick insights. And users can simply ask questions and Power BI Q&A will answer those questions with immediate effect as well. And then we have results closer to established goals. So basically with Power BI, we can keep a track of information and set our goals accordingly. And we get to have a good insight on the consumer behavior. So we can boost the ability to analyze the current consumer buying trends so that the organizations can develop products on consumption, and then we get a good return on investment where we can have a better strategic awareness, faster reporting, and decreased operating costs, or can say lower overheads helps in turn in getting better ROI. And then we can use it to turn data into actionable information. So basically it helps us in getting the insight that we need to make successful strategic plan for the organization. So why Power BI? Why not the other tools? So Power BI is one of the global leaders in the market for BI. BI is in business intelligence. Now, Microsoft team has worked for a long time to build a big umbrella called as Power BI. Now, this umbrella is a combination of a strong visualization, data analysis, and a cloud-based tool. So let's say if you have to define it, then Power BI is basically a business analytical service given to us by Microsoft. And it provides interactive visualization with the self-service business intelligence capabilities where end users can create reports and dashboards by themselves without having to depend on information technology or database administrators. So Power BI also give us the cloud-based BI services known as Power BI services, along with a desktop-based interface called as Power BI Desktop. It offers data warehouse capabilities, including data preparation, data discovery, and interactive dashboards. In March 2016, Microsoft released an additional service called as Power BI Embedded on its Azure cloud platform, which enables the users to analyze data easily, perform various ETL operations, and deliver reports with Power BI. And Power BI gateways is simply let us connect with SQL Server database, analytical services, and many other data sources to our dashboard in Power BI and reporting portals. So they simply embed Power BI reports and dashboards to give us a unified experience. And again we can start using the Power BI, which is again free of cost. So there is no licensing required here. We can use the community tool to get started as a part of Power BI components. And again, as we discussed here, it offers low upfront costs. It has multiple APIs for integration. It allows us to customize the entire platform depending upon the requirement. And the entire UI is also intuitive so that it becomes much easier, especially for the beginners, those who have never ever worked on any kind of BI tools, to start using Power BI right away. And Power BI, as we have discussed, so Power BI is again a free business intelligence tool as a cloud service offered by Microsoft, and it provides non-technical business users with tools for aggregation, analyzing, visualizing, and sharing of data after we are done working on it. And these are the components of Power BI. First of all, we have Power Query, which is used for searching, accessing, and transforming public and internal data sources with Power Query. Then we have Power Pivot, so which is basically used for data modeling in memory analytics with Power Pivot. And then we have Power View, which is going to be used for analyzing, visualizing, and displaying data as an interactive data visualization tool. And then we have Power Map, which is used for bringing the data to life with interactive visualizations available here. And then we have Power BI Service. So Power BI Service is used for sharing data views and workbooks from on-premise and cloud-based data sources. And then we have Power BI Q&A, where we can ask questions and get immediate answers with natural language query. Then we have Data Management Gateway, which is basically a periodic data refresher, which is going to expose tables, views as OData feed to external consumers. Then we have data catalog, which is basically a metadata for facilitated search functionality, and users can easily discover and reuse the queries as and when required. Now, if you talk about the key benefits of Power BI, then first of all, it has pre-built dashboards and reports for popular SaaS solutions. It offers real-time dashboard updates. It is secure and it offers live connection to our data sources on premises and in the cloud. And then it offers intuitive data exploration using natural language query. And then it is well integrated with familiar Microsoft products and utilizes commitment for scale and availability in Azure platform. And for fast deployment, hybrid configuration, secure and integrated with existing IT systems available here. So these kind of good integrations are available as one of the core features offered under Power BI. All right, so next we have the process available under Power BI. We have multiple building blocks available under Power BI. So if we talk about the building blocks, then everything we do in Power BI can be broken down into 4 building blocks. First of all, we have the main focus is on visualization. Then we have data sets, reports, and dashboards. So visualization again basically is what? It's a simple visual representation of data that we refer as visualization. So for example, a chart or a graph can be used to represent data visually. And Power BI gave us a different visualization type, which keeps getting updated with time. And we can make use of map representation. We have card visualization. We have stacked area chart. We have free map. We can make use of pie chart. We can make use of multiple map-based solutions as well. So visualization can be simple or they can be visually complex. However, visualization aims at presenting the data in such a way that it gives us more insight in the context, which is otherwise difficult to discern from simple data files. That's how they are structured. And then if you talk about the given data sets, then a data set is basically nothing but a collection of data or information. So Power BI harness this data to create visualizations. It can be simple data set or it can be a combination of multiple different data sets from different sources, which can be filtered and combined to provide different data sets altogether. So for example, we can pull together data from many sources like different database fields, an Excel table, online results of some email campaign to create the given data set. And having said that, we may have to filter our data before we bring it into Power BI. So filtering let us focus on the data that matters to us. So for example, we are going to analyze any kind of, suppose let's say here we are going to analyze any kind of sales data. Then customer's name, if that name is currently present in the data, then customer's name has nothing to do with our own analysis. So we can remove the data pointers that are not going to be required. And with the data set ready, we are free to create visualization and display different portions of that data set in different ways. And with this, we gain insights. And then we have reports. So report is basically a collection of visualization that appears together on one or more pages in a report in Power BI. This collection of items that are related to one another. So we can create visualization on multiple different pages if necessary and arrange them in a way that suits our story best. Like we can see here, we can create multiple reports by combining multiple data pointers together. And then we have dashboards. So a Power BI dashboard is basically a single page interface. It is also called as a canvas that uses visualizations to tell a story. So because it is limited to one page, a well-designed dashboard contains only the most important element of that story. So the visualization that we see on the dashboard are again called as tiles because they all are interactive, just like we have tiles in our Windows-based systems. So in Power BI, a tile is a single visualization found in a report or on a dashboard, and it's a rectangular box that contains each individual visual. Power BI gave us the freedom to move or arrange tiles so that we can present the data the way we want to. And even while we are creating a report or a dashboard, and we can make the tiles bigger, change the line or line thickness, we can change the height or width, and we can simply make sure that they are in the same exact format we want. And that's why these are referred as the building blocks for any Power BI reports or any kind of dashboard that we may end up creating. So for downloading Power BI, we can refer to this link so that we can get the access to Power BI desktop. So using this given link, now Power BI is available for Windows, so we can run this on top of Windows platform. But again, if you want to run this on mobile devices, then we can get it from both the Google Play Store and also from the App Store as well. So once we are on this page, we can click on Microsoft Power BI Desktop. We can click on download, and this is going to download the MSI package manager with us so that we can use that MSI to install the entire package automatically. All right. So once we have successfully installed Power BI, we can simply open this up by tapping in Power BI. So it is offered as a Power BI desktop. So here we can open up Power BI desktop. So there is no licensing required here, so we can open it. We can configure it for free. We don't have to renew it with the paid plans. So first of all, let's open it up so that we can start working on different visualizations offered under it. So currently all different type of visualizations are currently being offered. So once we are successfully logged in, we can simply log in via our ID. Let's wait for this login to happen. Just a moment. All right. So now we have got the access to the Power BI tool, and the first step that we have to do before we can get started, we have to load the entire data set, correct? All right. So once we have this tool downloaded and installed, so now we are going to work on the Excel sheet. Now, first of all, before we can get started, we can choose the source of the current data that we want to visualize here. So here we can choose a source to be the Excel sheet. If we have a local Excel file, then we can choose a source to be Excel. If we're looking to work on any text or CSV, so here we can choose the CSV file, we can choose the JSON documents, we can connect this with the Access database, we can connect it with the IBM solutions, with Postgre, with MySQL databases. We can also have a direct connection set up through the cloud platforms, like we have all the Azure services available. Right, so here we can connect it with Power BI platforms with multiple Azure services as and when required, so that we can choose, we can start working accordingly. And we can have a direct connection set up to multiple other online services as well. Like we can have a direct connection with the Salesforce solutions, with Adobe Analytics, with we can also have a direct integration with Marketo, with Facebook applications, with Twilio. We have direct integration with ClickBase. So depending upon the requirement, if we have data scattered in multiple places, then we can choose accordingly. So once we have the data loaded here, we can go to the financial sections, or we can go to the, now if there are multiple sheets available, for example, here we can see, here we have data for financials and the sheet and the data for sheets as well. So we can navigate to any part. For example, we want to work on financials, then here we can simply choose this sheet that we want to import. We can have it selected, and now we can click on load. If we are looking to transform the given data, then we can also transform it as well as part of the requirement. So now, as you can see, all the data pointers have been selected. And now if you want, we can get started working on any data pointer, and then based on the given, or we can say selected data pointer, we can start working on its visualization. For example, let's say we are going to we want to plot the profit and the segment. Suppose here we are looking to segregate. We want to see a complete distribution of the profit and which segment has been most profitable for us. So let's say here we have chosen two different data pointers from the given fields. And once we have chosen these two pointers, we can see the same thing has been visualized on top of the dashboard, on top of the entire report section. So now if we want to change the entire width and height of the given report, we can simply do that. Plus, we can change the type. Now here in this section, we can see we have multiple different types of visualizations available. So we can choose the type of how exactly we want to make sure that what kind of visualization we want to have. For example, we want to visualize the data in line graphs, in pie chart, in stacked area, in heat maps, in the format of box plots, in the format of histograms. So we can choose the type of visualization we want based on the data that we have the access to. So now once we have the access to data, we can choose the type of visualization that we want to work on. So currently, let's say we have chosen profit and segment. Now they both are the data set. Then now we do have one numerical value and the other one is a categorical value, right? So here we are making use of this bar diagram. So when we have one categorical value and the other one to be a numerical value, then we can make use of this kind of bar diagram where we can also observe there are spaces between each and every bar, correct? So when we have this kind of data that we have to visualize, then we can make use of bar diagram. If we have data both on the numerical, on both the axes, like we have numerical data on X and Y axis, where we have one data as independent and the other data is variable. Then we can make use of the histograms as well for visualizing that kind of data set. Let's say here we want to work on different type of visualization. For example, let's say now we want to make use of, let's suppose here we want to visualize the number of units sold. For example, here we have number of units sold. We want to make use of number of units sold and we want to plot this based on the date as well. So here we have date and the number of units sold. Now within the date itself, for example, let's say here we want to add any filters. We want to add any filters here based on the date parameter, then we can also do that. So currently in terms of date, suppose in terms of date, we may have only year, right? We may have only the month data. We may have only some specific formats of year that we have, right? So in case we have that kind of data set, then we can choose the type of data pointers that we want to work on, or we can apply any filters that we want. We can also apply any filters that we want to work on. For example, suppose here we are going to visualize any format, for example, any specific formats here, then we can simply do that based on the year segment that we have chosen. So let's say here now currently we are seeing data being spanned in terms of 2 years, 2013 and 14. Now if we want to apply multiple filters here, then here we have the section for filters. We can simply apply any filters as per the requirement. For example, here we are going to apply any filters here, right? So let's say here we want to work on some specific data set. So here we can click on visual level filters. We can see we have data pointers from September 2013 till December 2014. So we can see if we are choosing a multiple data pointers here, we can see which particular month we want to choose from a given time frame as a part of the filter that we are going to apply on this particular data set. And then if we want to make further changes, for example, currently we have data here for only 2 different months. Let's say if we want to work on some different data sets, so let's do one thing. Let's take the reference for the other file that we have the access to, which is for global superstore orders for 2016. Let's open this file as well. Now this is a bigger files with having more data pointers that we have in the current financial workbook that we have imported. Now, first of all, to visualize the current data that we want to work on, we can simply click on expand, and these all are the data pointers that we can work on as part of the requirement. So currently we have imported two different sheets. We have one for the financials where we have imported this from the financial Excel workbook, and then we have orders that we have currently imported from global superstore data. So here in this sheet, we have the order ID, we have order date, shipment mode, the customer ID, customer name, segment, postal code, the city, state, then we have the region, market, product ID, subcategory, product name. So these all are different types of data that we have the access to. And now suppose if we want to start visualizing it, we can go to a new page. Now let's say here we want to work on the data pointers available under orders. So here we can make a selection. For example, let's say here we want to see the distribution of profit and that too based on the order date. So here we can choose the both the parameters as order date and profit. And there are multiple type of visualization that we can go for. For example, here we can currently we are looking at the bar graph, right? So now if we want to go and present this on top of a simple line graph, then we can simply plot the entire data set on a line graph. Now, based on the current graph that we are seeing here, it says it simply sees a plain line, correct? We don't see any kind of variations here. It simply sees, we can infer from this diagram that okay, it has been a continuous increase, right? It has been a continuous increase. So now if we want to segregate them further, for example, suppose here we want to analyze the current data sets here, or suppose here in terms of year, we want to filter it out based on certain years. For example, here in year, let's say here we want to filter it out based on different quarters. So here we can see here we have report for quarter. If we want to visualize this on different months, we can see we have different months data. And now suppose even in terms of the order date, let's suppose we want to use the order date in terms of any legends or any kind of tooltips that you want to visualize. So we can add this as a part of tooltips and then we can segregate them further. For example, here we want to filter them out based on year, based on quarter, or based on month, whatever and however we want to visualize this current data set. So depending upon the requirement, we can choose accordingly. Again, if you want to apply certain filters from here, then we can apply those kind of filters as a part of the requirement. Now, if we want to work on the analyzing, now here we have the analysis part already available inbuilt as a part of P or Power BI. For example, we want to analyze this given trend. We can right click here and here we have the section called as analyze. So based on the data pointer that we have selected, it is going to analyze, it is going to perform some sort of analysis on its own based on the data pointers that we have selected and the filters that we have applied so far. So basically here we can see the entire segregation based on the profit distribution. That means based on same days as second class, again, what has been the difference in terms of the profit ratio. Suppose if we want to see the profit distribution based on month and subcategory, so here we have these different categories available, like we have for chairs, binders, copiers, bookcases. Then we can see how exactly the profit distribution has been for these different segments. So you can see here, bookcases and copiers accounted for the majority of the decrease among these subcategories. Again, if you want to see the profit as in month by month and by region, we can see again the distribution for different month and again for different regions as well, right? So you can see Oceania, Northern Europe, and Eastern Europe accounted for majority of the decrease among the region in terms of the profit ratio that has been from June to July. Same way in terms of profit based on the month and market. So we can see again the distribution and trend which has been analyzed, correct? So you can see in terms of the profit analysis between June and July, there has been almost 47% decrease to what we have observed. As you can see here, based on the current data, there have was 47% dip in the profit ratio, right? Same way we can see in terms of month and segment how the profit was segregated between. So the biggest decline we saw was in the consumer segment. 15,000 profit was reduced in corporate, and there was almost, we can see a 12% loss in the home office, 34% loss in corporate, and almost 60% loss in consumer goods segment. Same way here we can see the entire analysis based on countries as well, where based on the current report, Australia, UK, and France have the largest decrease among the country, offering the in case of Turkey and Portugal, where again, not that much effective. And then in terms of order priority, in terms of the category, so based on whatever data pointer we have selected, it is going to compare based on the other data pointers and simply give us the entire insight automatically, which is going to be inferred by the Power BI engine. And now suppose say in the same graph we want to visualize based on the year, right? So here we have year and simply we can drop the year in among the legend section. So we can see in the same data we are seeing different segregation based on the year as well. And again now suppose if we want to use the stack chart here, we want to use the line graph based on the different year selection, we can easily do that. So that we don't have to create separate years and we can simply compare the performance of each and every year based on different months. And we can see here, although the playing graph earlier was looking like the profit has been on a continuous increase, dive deeper, we can see here we have the we can say the best performing month had been August, and especially for which year? Again, for year 2015, whereas the month which was the worst performer was July, and that too for year 2012. And we can see what exactly has been the difference in terms of profit distribution for different years in the same month. We can have a clear-cut distinction visible in the current visualization that we have. So we can make use of different data pointers. We can make use of different sets depending upon the requirement and how exactly we are going to visualize them. And that's why we have different type of data available. We have different type of data available here. So basically, let's say here we have line charts. So we have discussed the line charts are used for series of data pointers to show growth, like we can see here for profit distributions. We also have area chart to show graphically the quantitative data on how exactly they have been spread in a given timeline. Then we have data set like we have the ribbon charts. So ribbon charts are basically used to show items based on majority of the measures. Then we have pie chart when we want to show segregation of data based on multiple pointers. And let's say here we want to visualize, let's say here we want to create a different visualization. Let's say here we want to define the category of products. For example, here we have the category of products, and now we want to showcase the sales figures for those categories, right? And now we want to use the donut, or we can simply make use of a simple pie chart. We can see this pie chart has been created, and now we can segregate the entire pie chart exactly as per the requirement. For example, suppose how exactly we want to segregate it. We can define the entire visualization method that we want to use for this current type. Let's say here we want to create, currently we are segregating this based on different data pointers to see how to have a quick overview of how data is currently being distributed. And now if we want to segregate the entire pointer based on the color scheme, we can go to color scheme and we can change the entire color scheme. We can do anything that we want for that particular color scheme that we are or that is currently being used here. We can change the entire look and feel as per the requirement. All right. And then suppose if we have some kind of geospatial data, for example, let's say here we can create a separate sheet. Let's say here we want to work on separate sheet, and here we can do that easily as part of the requirement. Just a moment. Now suppose here we choose other data pointers. Suppose here we want to visualize city and we want to show the profit distribution of segments across different cities. So for example, let's do one thing. Let's delete this data pointer. Let's delete the other graph component as well. And let's say here we have this file with us. So here we are going to use the map section to simply plot the profit distribution for different cities all around the globe. And again, if you want to apply multiple other filters, then we can do that easily as and when required. And now if you want to apply multiple other filters, for example, even in city, we have multiple segregations. So if you want to remove any fields here, we want to segregate the city, and if we want to apply multiple other data pointers, then we can do that easily as and when required. Thank you for joining. Have a great day ahead.